The topic that we are going to discuss today are 10 things that you should never do on a long motorcycle trip. I have a list of things here, and as usual, guys, I will rely on your thoughts, your opinion, to add some moments, to discuss some moments, and of course make something interesting that will help other riders to gain some experience and eventually avoid our mistakes. Yesterday was such a storm here, a lot of rain. I went to see a friend around 30-40 kilometers south from Varna, went to his place, and then started raining. I was with the bike, and then after maybe 2-3 hours it stopped, and I went back home another 30 kilometers in another direction, put the motorcycle in the garage, and it starts raining again like a hell. So I've got this luck, this gap to ride just a little bit, and I noticed something really strange. On the way to his place, I was thinking that every time when I go there with the car, I was thinking, man, he lives so far away, it's so boring every time to go there, because I live 20 kilometers on north from Varna, he lives 20 kilometers south from Varna. It takes like 1 hour journey. But yesterday when I was going with the bike, I did not mind at all if I need to ride another 30, 40, 50 kilometers because I was with the bike. Such a big difference, but yeah. How was your days, guys? Where you have been in the last week or so? Any rides? How is the weather? Still possible to ride? Yeah, it is motorcycle therapy, exactly. I like it very much. I don't know how people don't want to ride motorcycles. Scotland, how was in Scotland, Richard? Nice and beautiful, I guess. Yeah, to see the brother, even better to see the family. Always good. Very well. Oh, very wet, huh? Okay. Big D, only local, but first decent ride since returning from Portugal. Okay. Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah. I might do another Scotland one day. Scotland and England. It's a nice place to ride a motorcycle actually, but the prices are too high now at the moment, man. With these prices, I don't know. It will be very expensive journey. Anyway, the topic that we are going to discuss today are 10 things that you should never do on a long motorcycle trip. I have a list of things here, and as usual, guys, I will rely on your thoughts, your opinion, to add some moments, to discuss some moments, and of course make something interesting that will help other riders to gain some experience and eventually avoid our mistakes. Alright, so let's start, guys. As I said, we're gonna discuss the 10 things that you should never do on a long motorcycle trip. The first thing that you should never do is never ride fast. Never ever. If you don't have the time to complete everything that you have planned, skip some parts or make another plan. This is what I will recommend. If you have only 2 weeks but plan too many kilometers, it is obvious that it's not going to happen. You have to ride very fast and miss a lot of things. That's why it's better just skip some places or some parts of the trip and make it more manageable or more affordable for your time, but never ride fast. As I always suggest and always recommend to everyone, it's much better to keep constant versus top speed. For example, on my trip to Magadan now, I never rode with more than 100, 110, 20 kilometers per hour, maybe for a few seconds if I need to overtake a car or truck, 130, 40, and then go back to 110 or 100 kilometers per hour. And even so, I was able to cover so many kilometers, and what is most important to me, I was able to cover it without risking too much, and always controlling the situation, always ready to stop or react in the case someone stop unexpectedly or something like that. So my advice, never ride fast. If you don't have the time, skip some parts. Constant versus top speed. So instead of riding with 160, 80 kilometers per hour, and then after 2 hours stopped and spent 1 hour and 30 minutes on the restaurant, better is to have constant speed, not so fast, but do not waste time on the stops. And then the last point on this, number one, is instead of riding fast, better is to make early starts. What I usually do, as you already know, guys, I start very early in the summer when the time allows. Exactly, Richard. Marathon, not sprint. Yes, exactly. Thanks for adding. In the summer, when the light allows, I can start very early, 4:30, 5 o'clock, and 5 o'clock be already on the road. And this will give me the chance to cover more than enough kilometers without any rush, without the need to riding fast. So, I don't know why some people don't get it. Maybe they just prefer to ride fast. If you are on race, I understand. If you have even a sport bike and you went out in the weekend just to enjoy the speed, I will also understand. I also done this when I was young. But on the trips, to ride fast is just nonsense at all. Alright, the second point that I would like to discuss is never save money on tires. This is very, very important. We all done it sometimes and we complete doing it sometimes. But in my opinion, it's completely wrong. Never save money on tires. Just because your trip is long and you said, okay, I will need tires that will last many kilometers, or I'll save money from it. This is not a really good decision. Saving money from tires, you actually taking money, or not money, you taking credits from your traction, from your compromise your traction. Because if the tires last so many kilometers, that only means that the tires got more plastic than rubber on it. And this means that they won't have the same grip that you will need, or the motorcycle need, to be ridden in any kind of situation. If you think closely, you know that on the race tracks, the tires last not many kilometers. They actually fall apart after a few hours on the MotoGP or anything, because they are very soft. They provide very good traction, but of course they don't last much. So to save money from tires, or to buy tires that will last many kilometers but the traction will be compromised, it's not a really good idea. The last time that I made this mistake, I made it actually without even knew it. Never sacrifice safety for cash. Absolutely agree with this. Never sacrifice safety for cash. It's a good phrase. I have to remember it. The last time when I bought tires for my Tenere, I bought Mythos 07 Dakar version. I bought this Dakar version without knowing what exactly it means. And then I realized that it means that the compound of the tire was very hard. So I noticed this immediately since I started from the tire shop. It was very noisy and vibrating a lot. And then I learned that it lasts many kilometers, it's very hard and stuff like that. But I already bought these tires. If I knew it in advance, I will never do it. And now, because I know what exactly is this tire, I will never buy this tire again. So to save on tires, it's completely wrong. Tires are what keeps you straight on the road. Tires are your connection, the connection between you, motorcycle, and the road. So no, it's impossible to save money from there. If you save it from there, you'll give it for something else. The second point that I will discuss on this topic is to choose the proper tires. So when you have a long trip, you have to be very cautious what kind of traction you will need during the whole trip. If in some part of the trip you will need a proper off-road tires, make sure that you're gonna have it when you reach this place. Because with not so proper tires, you can ride almost everywhere, but when you need a good traction, you cannot make any compromises. So choose a proper tires. And also bad roads usually means proper tires. So as I said, if you have a journey that is 10,000 kilometers long, but from these 10,000 kilometers you have only 500 kilometers very bad dirt roads, my advice will be always the same, to choose a proper tires for these 500 kilometers. Even if you need to buy specific off-road tires, buy it. I understand that your traction on the road will be compromised. If you don't have the chance to change these tires in the last moment or before the off-road section, I don't know, just better is maybe to ride with off-road tires on the asphalt than to ride with asphalt tires on the off-road section, because when you don't have enough skills, a proper tires will help you, or will improve a little bit the traction, and maybe will be easy for you to go through this section, if you understand what I mean. So number 3 is never take spare tires with you. It's again with the tires. Never take spare tires with you. I have done it only once for around 3,000 to 4,000 kilometers, and it was terrible experience. The tires are very heavy, bulky, they disbalance the bike at all. There is no proper place to tighten it. You cannot really tighten it properly. Even if you do it, you need to check it all the time, because they move a lot, because they are very heavy. For example, a front tire will be something like 3-4 kilograms, but the rear will be almost like 7-8 kilograms. So this is a lot of kilograms. Even if you have hard panniers, it's a lot of kilograms on the panniers. If you don't have, you have to tighten it on your seat, on the top of your saddlebag, and you can also damage these tires if they stay for so many kilometers. If the weather is very hot, then you can damage these tires, and later when you install it on the motorcycle, they will wobbling or disbalance the whole bike. So to carry tires for many kilometers tightened, it's not really a good idea. The tires need to be stored properly in the straight position, if possible even not touching the ground. They should be on the shadow or stuff like that. So to have a tires for many kilometers in the sun, in the rain, you will more likely destroy it, and they're not gonna be in very good use when you need them. So too heavy, too bulky, disbalanced, and you'll destroy it. Another point that you have to know is that if you carry tires with you, this also means that every day when you need to go and sleep in hotel, unless you're not on campground and in the tent, you'll need to load it and unload it, tighten it, untighten it every day. And after a few more days, this will be a pain in the ass. Can you imagine that you book a hotel that is on the 4th floor without a lift, and your motorcycle is in the garage or in front of the hotel, and every time you need to take your tires with you to the hotel, and every morning you have to bring it back? It's just not a good idea. Also, you risk the tires to be stolen. If you leave your motorcycle, for example, in a big city and go to walk around to see something, you might come back and find out that someone stole your tires. And this is also a big problem, because you'll be left without anything. And if you don't have any money to buy a second set of tires, or if you plan only this for your journey, this might be a problem. That's why I said never take spare tires with you. It is always better to calculate in your budget and to find a place where on the road you can change the tires. For example, if you travel around Europe, will be easy. In almost every big town or city, you will find a tire shop, and you will be able to buy tires. And even if the price is a little bit different than the tires that you can buy at home, maybe a little bit expensive, it's still worth to buy it there instead of having the tires with you for so many kilometers. So even for me now in Russia is under sanctions, but I was able to find the tires that I needed, and instead of having tires for thousands of kilometers, I bought the tires when I reached the place that I need to change the tires. So this is something that you have to consider. All right, then number four is never rely only on your smartphone for navigation, for GPS navigation. First reason, it might start, and it happens very easy when the telephone overheat, or when it's wet, if it's not waterproof. Even if it's waterproof, sometimes, not sometimes, it's almost every time when you leave it on the rain And when the rain touch the screen, it's actually change everything. It's the screen react like exactly you touch it with your fingers because it's touch screen. So big drops of rain, they will change your screen all the time. And when it happens in the most important moment, when you're looking for a specific destination or point in the town, it's very annoying and you actually cannot guide yourself. That's why I said never rely on your telephone. This is the first point. It might stop because of overheating, because of rain, and also when it's rain you cannot use it. If you, it's always better to navigate yourself with a proper maybe GPS. Of course, the telephone got many better points than the GPS. I also use a telephone for guiding myself, but I use a second telephone. So if you need to guide yourself only with the GPS, if you don't like paper maps, or if you don't have a proper GPS, then definitely bring a second phone. This is exactly what I do. I have a second smartphone, which is only for navigation. And I use it only when I really need to find an address. And when it starts raining, I actually put it in the plastic cover, because the plastic cover stopped the drops to activate my screen, and actually I can guide myself. This is what I do. It's a simple Bulgarian modification. And yes, it's always better to guide yourself by paper maps, but paper maps are not very useful in the big towns. Okay, number 5, never go with loud open exhaust on a long trip. It will be just too noisy, too much noise for you, and too annoying for everyone who is behind you, especially the guys that are going to ride behind you. So you might not notice this when you ride it for a while in the city or commute somewhere, but when you need to spend thousands of kilometers, especially if you ride on the open street highways with a little bit more speed, at the end of the day your head will be like this, if you understand what I mean. It is just too much and it's too noisy. As I said, it will be noisy for you and noisy for riders behind you. For them it's going to be extremely annoying, and you will notice that they will start to slow down just because they want to avoid you, or they will always try to stay in front of you because of this noise. And the third reason is that you can have a possible fine on the road, especially around Europe with noisy exhaust. You might be stopped by police and have a big fine just because of that. Especially around the Alps, in many places it's forbidden even to ride a motorcycle because of the noise. But if you have a noisy, loud exhaust, it's even worse. Number 6, never risk too much. Never risk too much, especially when you're on the long trip. In the name of adventure, never do anything in the name of adventure. This is actually one of the points that I discussed on the video that is going to be online tomorrow morning on my channel. Never risk too much in the name of adventure. When you're on trip, your main goal or your main focus should be on the trip, where exactly you need to go, what exactly you plan to see, and that is everything. You don't need to disfocus or try to see or do something completely different when you're on the trip. For example, to risk in the name of adventure. I have many examples, but I'm not gonna waste your time now with examples. I will say that once again, it is just better to focus on your trip, on your goal, and complete it instead of risking the whole trip, the whole mission, your safety, risk to break your motorcycle or anything in the name of adventure. This is not a really good idea. Also on the road, always try to use 70, maximum 80% of your possibilities. You don't need to ride always on the maximum of your skills and possibilities. Always try to have some reserve energy and power and skills that you can use in the case something goes wrong. So it's raw calculations like this, like use 70-80% of your power, your skills, and your possibilities. You'll never be on max. I have heard many people that say, "Oh, every day is on max. I gave so much today. I want to spend more and more and more." Forget about it. Just always try to be more like reserved and slowly and steady. Never give so much. And as I said, you have to complete the trip, or at least the goal. at least the goal. So for example, now my last trip was to reach Magadan, and for me was the most important part to reach Magadan. This was the first goal, to reach Magadan. And I said, okay, at least I need to reach Magadan, but if I'm able after reach Magadan to go back on the same way with the same bike and everything that I planned, this will be just fantastic. So my main goal was Magadan, and when I reached the Magadan, then okay, now I can complete the trip and go back and finish everything. So complete the trip, or at least the goal that you have. You might have some kind of mini goals on the road. Let's say, okay, if I go to this place will be great. After this place I will decide where will be my next place or next place or next place. This will give you just the chance to be more flexible and to feel better. Or because if I have got the goal now, okay, I have to do 39,000 kilometers, exactly what I did on my last trip. This will sound like, oh man, this is too much. But if I have a goal, just a simple goal, let's go to Magadan, it's a little bit different. I hope that you understand what I mean. All right, the next one, never underestimate the weather. This is so wrong, and I have seen many people do it. I also have done it a few times, and I regret after that. Never underestimate the weather. Nowadays, we have so many different applications or possibilities to check the weather conditions. And most of these applications are very, very accurate, by the way. There are options with radars, they can show you the rain, the storms and everything. So never really underestimate the weather. If it's said that it's going to be heavy rain or thunderstorms or some kind of tornadoes or whatever, better is just don't try it. To think that you're a very good rider and it's not a problem for you, or you can ride 12 hours on the rain. If it's necessary, you're gonna do it. But if you can avoid it, why? Why should I do it? Or why should you do it? It's just make no sense at all. Like heavy rain, snow, floodings, always try to avoid it. Never underestimate the weather, and always try to avoid bad weather, because it is not fun at all. It is dangerous, and it might finish very, very badly. Don't try to fight the weather, because you will lose. In any battle with the weather, you will lose. In the minimum, you will finish completely wet, miserable, and this is not going to be fun at all. So number 8, never talk on religious topics when you travel. Never do it. It doesn't matter what kind of religion you've got, Christian, Muslims, Hindu, whatever it is. Never discuss this on the trips. Never talk about it. Whatever beliefs you have, keep it for you. Especially nowadays. You see what is happening in the last 2 weeks around the world. I don't want even to discuss it, but the topics now are so sensitive, and you don't know where all of this might lead you. So never ever talk about it. Even if people try to provoke you or tell you something or ask for your opinion, just keep it for yourself. Politician and religion, forget about it. Just keep it for yourself. This is exactly what I did now on my trip to Magadan. I've been asked for my opinion all the time. I've got so many comments on this topic all the time. I just ignore them all. My opinion is my opinion, and I'm going to share my opinion only with my close friends in close atmosphere. I'm not going to discuss this with anyone. So whatever are your beliefs, keep it for you. Don't fluck with your religion, and respect any other religion. Some things cannot be changed. I've seen people try to convince others that their religion is better, or they try to point their mistakes, or this is not good, that is not good. For example, in the Muslims world, Christians usually start to explain Muslims that it's not good to treat the women like that. But who are you to discuss this? These are religions with thousands of years of tradition and history. We cannot just go there and change them like that. Just forget about it. Don't discuss it, and that's it. Period. Number 9, never ride with a heavy backpack. I know many people do it, and they think that it's very useful to have a backpack and take something when you need it. But you will definitely feel it on your shoulders, especially if your backpack is heavier than 3 kilograms. You'll definitely feel it. You might not feel it in the first hour or two, but on some stage it's going to be a problem. That's why on my backpack I have only one hydration pack that is only 2 liters and a few small items that weigh nothing. So my backpack, I actually never fill it, never ever. It's just there with my water, that's it. But if you have a backpack, you will definitely have a backpack, you will feel it on your shoulder, and you'll notice that you usually use your back seat just to put the backpack over there, and it will restrict your movements and more stuff like that. You will also risk to forget it, because sometimes you will remove it just to take something from it or to put something on it, and you will risk to forget it. And if you have some precious things, you might lose it. Also, if you keep a wallet or telephone or some important things in your backpack, when you walk around the city, someone might take it from you and you wouldn't be able to see it, especially on the back, especially in the crowd. Forget about it. I will recommend just to use another option. As I said, you will fill this backpack, it will accumulate this fatigue effect, and on some stage you'll be really tired from this backpack. So forget about it. Light backpack or nothing. And the last point that I would like to discuss is never rely on the decisions of other people. Be ready to continue alone. So this is the first thing that I would like to discuss. I travel alone, for me this is alright, but many people prefer to ride in the groups. And even if you ride in the group, you have to be prepared and ready to split with the group and travel alone, which is mean that you should have all plans, all GPS files, paper maps, or everything that the group has, you should have it as well. You should be ready with the money, you should be ready with the spare parts and everything, because I have seen, for example, a few of my friends travel together with 3 Tenere 700, so they've got like 2 spare tires, one carry the brake levers, the second carry the air compressor, and they are good friends and travel together. But if they have got some arguments on some stage and need to split and travel in different directions, then what? They have just 2 sets of tires, one compressor and 1 set of tire levers. How they gonna split together? That's why I said never rely on other people. You always need to have everything for you. You have to be prepared and ready to split with everyone and continue your journey alone. This was the first point of this: never rely on other people. The second point is that you shouldn't trust on other people's judgment. Let me explain what exactly I mean. For example, if you ask someone, how is the road? And the person that you're asking is a truck driver, he can say to you, oh, the road is fine, everything is okay, you can go there, it's fine. The road is fine because he has a truck. His tires are bigger than your motorcycle, but when you go with your motorcycle, you realize that the road is in terrible condition. If you ask someone with bicycle who is coming on your direction and ask him, how is the road? He can say, oh, the road is terrible, a lot of sand, it's very difficult, don't go there. But actually the road might be just a 1 centimeter of sand. 1 centimeter of sand is very noticeable when you ride a bicycle, but with a motorcycle it's nothing, you just twist the throttle and go. That's why you should always ask someone with your type of vehicle. If you are with car, ask people with car. If you are with motorcycle, ask people with motorcycles. So never trust on people judgment. Or sometimes it happens with me many times. I ask locals, how is the road? And they said, it's all right, you're with motorcycle, it's all right. And I go there just to realize that there is no road. And just because I'm with motorcycle, it doesn't mean that I can go from everywhere. And that's why I said never rely on decisions of other people. You have to know everything by yourself, or have a very good proofs from someone with your vehicle, or just to know exactly what it is. And the last point that I would like to discuss again on this topic is again what people when the people try to help you, they usually don't do it properly. For example, in Russia, when you ask someone for something, let's say where I can find this or that shop, they will usually tell you, it's very close here behind the corner. And behind the corner in Russia means 2-3 kilometers. So if you're walking, you'll realize that you have to walk because they told you behind the corner. But in Russia, distances are big, country is huge, and in people's mind behind the corner is usually 2-3 kilometers. And if they say it is nearby, it could be like 600 kilometers. For Russians, 600 kilometers is nearby. So once again, in Russia, behind the corner is 2-3 kilometers, and nearby could be 600 kilometers. That's why you don't need to rely on this. You have to make your own research and find exactly how far it is. Thankfully, nowadays we have all of these smartphones, all of these technologies. It is so easy to educate yourself or find the proper information. So you don't need to rely on the descriptions or decisions of other people. So these are the 10 things that you should never do. Let me remind it once again. Never ride fast, never save money on tires, never take spare tires with you, never rely on your smartphone only for GPS or navigation, never go with loud open exhaust, never risk too much when you're on the trip, never underestimate the weather, never talk on religious topics, and never ride with heavy backpack. And the last was never rely on decisions or descriptions of other people. That's everything that I wanted to share with you guys. Now, of course, I will give you a time if you have any questions, or if you want to add more information or discuss some topics, or even if you have completely different questions on different topics. I will be more than happy if I can help you and reply and discuss it about it. So go ahead. Richard, don't keep all of your money in one place and don't display it in public. Absolutely, I have discussed this topic also many times. It is good decision to split your money in different pockets. Keep the money that you need for the day in your most obvious pocket, and the rest hide somewhere. This is exactly what I do all the time. This is exactly what I did now on my trip to Russia, because I needed to bring there all the money that I'm gonna use in cash. So I hide this money in my clothes, and in my wallet I kept only the amount that I need for every day. If I need for the day 50 euros, I kept there only 50 euros. In the case someone take my wallet, he will take only this money. So this is very good advice. Thank you very much for adding, Richard. Big D. Remember, when you're in a foreign country, you're a guest. You're a guest who should respect local customs, just good manners. Yeah, absolutely. You're a guest in the country, and you have to behave like a guest. Don't be the usual assholes that believe that their country are superior and everyone is a slave. So yeah, absolutely, be respectful and do exactly what you should do as a guest. Richard, avoid drinking excessively, especially with locals. Yes, absolutely, this is a very good advice. I've done this mistake a few times. It cost me a lot, so don't drink with locals. They might be friendly when they don't drink, but once they got drunk, they might completely change their mind, and if they are a big, large group, you might have a problem. Definitely, yes. Don't do this. We have another one person here, number 3, and he is still not showing himself. If you introduce yourself, your name, where you're from, you might have any questions. Avoid setting off without sufficient water or snack for the day. Yeah, absolutely, Richard. Thank you very much for adding this. Forrest. Hi, Forrest. How are you doing, man? Last week you were here, but without a proper internet connection. Yeah, so the stream was not launched last week, so you got it now. If you have any questions, you can add it now. Yeah, to have a water and enough snacks or some kind of food to get the day, it's important, especially in the remote areas where you wouldn't be able to find water or food. So definitely something to have in mind. Just drop it in. Accident on the road just came in. Accident. Okay, so accident with a motorcycle. Oh, sad to hear that. I hope you're alright and everything is alright. Bike is not damaged. Shit happens, you know. Yes, my friend still running moto tours in Bulgaria. Yes, Big D. The company still operate. They are taking bookings for the summer, next summer. I don't know what they have at the moment, but yes, they still run motorcycle tours. You were not involved. Good. Okay, fair enough. Good. This is the better way. I will tell you now. I'll drop the link here. Alright, I'll drop the link here. It will guide you to my website, and from my website they have a link to their website. You can find it over there. Don't let others make you ignore this important to you. Take the photos you want, rest when you need it, visit that you want, and when you... yeah, absolutely. This is actually, you describe very well what is to travel alone. Thank you very much, Richard. Yes, if you're a group, never let them to distract you or change the way you understand the things or the way you write or the way you travel. If you cannot work together with them, if you cannot travel together, if they make you a problem, just split from the group and complete your trip alone. It's so important to have a good time. Without it, it will be very, very difficult. No worries, Big D, my pleasure. I hope you will get a good deal with them. Bulgaria is a fantastic country. The forecast, as I said yesterday, rain. Today was nice, like 15 degrees, and until the end of November they said that the weather will be like 10-15 degrees, which is fantastic. I hope that I'll have a little bit more time to ride. I don't plan any trips anywhere near time, but it's nice to have this option to ride around. I just changed my front tire with AKC 80. I'm gonna change next week the rear with AKC 80. And I'll keep these tires here for the winter because I ride almost every day here around my house. There are dirt tracks that I use like shortcuts to go to the town, and I prefer to have a good traction. And I know that TKC 80 don't last many kilometers, but I really don't mind because I don't plan many kilometers, but I do want to have a good traction. Exactly what I discussed in number 2, never save money on tires. TKC 80 at the moment is one of the expensive options for tires. Front and rear will cost me like 300 euros, but as I said, I don't want to save money from tires because from the tires depends will I go back home safe or I will drop the bike somewhere. So this is what I think at the moment. Any more questions, guys? Nice, had the 70s on the trip, no issues with traction and the twisties. Had the 70s on the trip, no issues with traction on the twisties. Yes, TKC 70 is a good tire. I used these tires when I was riding in Australia, exactly with the same tires. But it's not good when you leave the asphalt road. On the dirt road, if it's dry, it's fine. If it's a little bit wet, it's a disaster. On the grass, impossible, no traction at all. So yeah, it depends on that, what exactly you do. Richard, how are the walls clearance in your Tenere after 60,000 kilometers? Actually, I did not check it yet. I discussed this with Big D. TC Rocks, the rear. The same story. I know this tire is very good for asphalt, not really good for off the road. So, because I told you I live here on the place where I use the dirt tracks almost every day, and when it's a little bit wetty and rainy with this TKC 70, even rocks, it's not a good idea. It's slide like a crazy. So, Richard, back to your question, I did not check the valves. I have heard some noise, some thickening on the road, but when I discussed this with my mechanic plumber, he said, if you like, we're gonna check the valves, but I can guarantee that the valves are not going to move at all before you reach 80 or 90,000 kilometers. They never move on the on the Japanese motorcycles. Even so, when I go to his place to change the spark plugs, the spark plugs are already in the shop. My rear disc is in the shop, and I have a few things that I have to change or maintain on the bike, but he's very busy at the moment and I'm just waiting for the proper time. So when I go there, I will definitely check the valve clearance, even though he's absolutely sure that they will be in the specifications. Yeah. So this is what I think about the AKC 70. Good road tire. When it's rain, it's a compromise. On the dirt, not good. On the muddy tracks, disaster. So in my situation, I prefer to have a good traction. Yeah, at the moment I have on the rear one Pirelli that I bought in Russia. It was the only possible option that I found over there. It is very, very similar to Takey C70 rocks. And on the road it's very good. On the dirt roads, the other day we went with friends here near to right, and it was like a lot of loose gravel and muddy rocks and here and there. And on the uphills with this tire was just impossible to go uphill. So we went to few very steep uphills, and then we went to many downhills, and I already realized that if I need to go up again, I just couldn't, because I don't have enough traction. That's why I prefer to have a better tire. When you have very good off-road riding skills, you can do it with almost any tire. But I never consider myself a very good off-road rider. Yeah, I have some skills. I used to ride dirt bikes for many years. But even so, this is a heavy motorcycle, and a better traction will actually help you when you don't have enough skills. The skills that I've got are enough to do all of my trips and the tracks that I use here around me. But it is always better to compensate with better traction. That's why I prefer to have this Takey C80 on my motorcycle, but I perfectly understand the point of view of many other people. Yeah, fair enough. They will work for this, for gravel, and for some light off-road when it's dry. It will work well. Yeah. The problem, once again, as I said, here, the place I live, I use the track which is go through the forest on the other side and then go down. But somewhere in the middle it goes like very, very down, and usually this down part is muddy, and then I have to go up again. So that's why I prefer to have a better traction. But for dry roads, you can do it with any tire. Tenere Traveler, thanks for taking the time. Good topic, good night, all right, safe and happy travels. Thank you very much, Richard. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for all of you guys to coming this Sunday. I'm gonna end this stream here now. I will edit it and it will be online on Tuesday for everyone who want to listen this topic. Thank you as well to you, Big D. Thank you for you, Forrest, for participate in this stream. And see you next week. Bye bye, guys. Ciao.